This is welcome to my channel. Um, I'm Mariah. This live stream is very important to me because I live in the county where this gentleman disappeared, and also in the state that he disappeared in. And I didn't know anything about this disappearance until I found someone on a article on Google Chrome, which makes me really sad. And this live stream is going to be on the disappearance of Jamell Lee Heung the second. And I was given permission to do this live stream by his father. I also want to remind everyone that watches this stream that please be kind because this family is still looking for their loved one, and I can't even imagine what they must be going through. That I literally can't imagine. And I know people keep saying it's kind for me to do this live stream. To me, it's not about being kind. I just if anybody I knew was going through this, I would want the same kind of thing. That's the reason I'm doing this. And to be, so you know, I'm going to post the YouTube video I used to gather information for this live stream, and also I'm going to post the article that I read that I in the comment section. Both of those are going to be in the comment section once I'm done with this live stream. I felt like I had to do this after reading the article about Jamil's disappearance and the circumstances surrounding it. The information that I gathered that is going to be represented in this live stream is based on a YouTube video that I watched. Okay, so and you're going to also hear my notebook probably make sounds because when I turn the page, it's going to make sound just so to make sure you're aware. Okay, so to start. On Saturday, November 25th, 2023, a 25-year-old veteran and father of two, Jamell Lee Heung II, was spending the night with some friends when he suddenly disappeared without trace. He was last seen at the Indian Head Naval Base in Maryland, where he lived with his wife and two young children. Sorry about that. Along with many of his friends who lived in the same area. It is still unknown exactly what happened to him on that night. At around 2 a.m., Jamil decided to leave the bar. Sorry if you heard that sound in the background. My stupid windows are not insulated enough in this house, so you're going to hear that. I'm really, literally sorry about that. Okay, again. At around 2 a.m., Jamil decided to leave the bar, likely to go home to his family, but unfortunately, he never made it back there. A missing persons report was made shortly after, and the Charles County Sheriff's Department acted after 48 hours, sending officers to his last known location. However, after sharing the searching the surrounding areas and sending divers into a creek, they uh, they were mortified by the discovery of Jamil's car submerged underwater. To everyone's surprise, after continuing to search a creek, the divers were unable to find Jamil. After 2 weeks of searching with no answers, many are starting to wonder what actually happened to Jamell Lee Heung II and who is responsible. Jamell Lee Heung II was born in 1998. He has 6 sisters who he is very close to. Together, they grew up on the East Coast in the United States. Growing up, he was known to always be a leader and a role model for his sisters. It was no surprise that he followed in his father's footsteps by joining the military at just age 17. Jamil gathered, sorry, Jamil quickly adapted to his new surroundings as he was almost immediately scouted as one of the strongest soldiers in his squad. It was this well-disciplined character that he eventually represented the military at both Fort Drum in New York and Honor Army airfield in Savannah, Georgia. Despite the positive um, sorry, character building experience of the military, this did not mean his life was easy, as Jamil would struggle being away from home for too long, especially as he would later form a relationship with his soon-to-be wife, where they eventually bring two precious children into the world. As you can imagine, being a young father trying to raise two young sons while balancing a stressful career was always likely to take its toll, so Jamel decided to leave his position within the army after 6 years of dedicated service. However, despite his decision, the military still offered the young father a place to live on the Indian Head Naval Base in Maryland. Given that he had a young family to raise, Jamil and his wife were more than happy to accept. During during this period, Jamil would often find himself at a loose end, given that he is no longer serving, and he was likely to find his footing. He was likely still to be finding his footing in his new life. But it wasn't long before he put his wasted energy to work by going back to get an education and receive a bachelor's degree. With the goal of receiving a bachelor's degree. Jamil was known to spend his free time assisting his family with odd jobs, as he was always happiest when he was helping out the people that he loved the most. So when Jamil suddenly decided not to come home one night, it didn't take long before everyone knew something terrible must have happened. On Friday, November 24th, Jamil spent the day tirelessly working alongside his father-in-law with his landscaping business. It is not known if he decided to drive home, after this time. What we do know is that Jamel eventually went off to meet his mother and stepfather later that day at a restaurant. By, by all accounts, they enjoyed a pleasant dinner together before parting ways and saying their goodbyes. Then drove over to a local bar on Bryant Street in Maryland, where he planned to have a few drinks and listen to some live music with friends. It is currently not known how many drinks he had that night, but due to his very busy day, it was no surprise to see that he would eventually fall asleep at his table. And with closing time quickly approaching, the staff had no choice but to wake Jamil up and send him home. But surprisingly, it would it would seem that his friends had already left, so the staff were then forced to help the groggy man to his car and watch him climb inside before he drove down the road en route to his home back on the naval base. He then made his way to the security gates, but to the shock of the guards, they noticed his car was leaking fluids and had two flat tires. So, given the regulations at the time, they were forced to refuse him entry. However, little did they know at the time that this would be the last official sighting of Jamil Lee Heung II. On Saturday, November 25th, Jamil's family was seriously concerned when they awoke to find that the young man did not return home as planned. At the time, they had no reason to believe that he would be staying over at a friend's house. So, with that in mind, his family began calling everyone who knew Jamell, hoping that they recently spoken to him or knew where he was. Jamell's friends had no idea where he could be. As they explained, they had last that they last saw him at the bar and they hadn't seen him since. Out of options, Jamil's family felt that they had no choice but to call the Charles County Sheriff's Office to officially report him as a missing person. But to their shock, despite finding clear evidence of a trail of liquid leading directly to Mattawoman Creek, the officers refused to act as they could sorry sorry refused to act as before they could inspect the water. They first needed to establish whose jurisdiction the location belonged to. So within so with the investigation so with that the investigation would be delayed. Um Jamil's family were forced to wait the agonizing 48 hours before the police made their decision. On Monday, November 27th, the local authorities finally started an official search of the Mattawoman Creek, hoping that they'd find any sign of the missing young man to bring some closure to his family. After all, given that he was last seen near the naval base, the sheriff's department um, were concerned that he may have accidentally ended up in the water, especially given the trail of liquid um, which led directly to the creek. So, with that thought in mind, they requested that the Naval Criminal Investigation Service assist in the search, as there was a strong possibility that Jamell may have met with foul play. And then, soon after they arrived on the scene, one of the divers noticed something at the bottom of the creek and called over his colleague to further investigate, for a further assessment. They had found what had appeared to be some kind of wreckage, and after inspecting it further closely, they finally realized that it was a badly damaged vehicle. Once the divers told the officers the details of the car, they realized it belonged to Jamell Lee Heung II. The car was then pulled out of the water. Once the car was pulled out of the water, it was checked and found to be empty. On Tuesday, November 28th, the Naval Criminal Investigation returned to the scene with fresh eyes and ready to search the creek for more evidence. At this point in time, the police knew with Jamell's vehicle being found in the creek, there was a very good chance his body might be in there too, despite clear evidence that something must have happened to Jamell in the creek. Days of searching would continue to come up empty, so with every passing day, the likelihood of his body being found in the water was less likely. However, this wasn't bad news for Jamill's family, as they rightfully hoped was I mean, sorry, were rightfully hoping that he was still alive somewhere. His family took to the media to ask the public for any assistance in finding their missing son. Despite the huge efforts of everyone involved, to this day, every single lead discovered so far in this case is yet to provide any answers, with both Jamill's family and the authorities failing to find any more evidence to explain what happened to the young father of two. This is what Jamell Lee's father told me when I messaged him in Messenger about his son. He said, "My son is a good person, and there is no one that has any had a bad thing to say about him. Anyone who has any information, they should contact Detective Bringley at 301 609 6499." And I did, and I want, I really just hope that Jamil's family is able to get the answers they want and deserve. And I also hope that, I just hope for the best. I really hope that they find Jamel. I really hope that. I really hope that this live stream will help them get some answers. I don't know who will come about based on this live stream, but I'm going to share it with this family, and I really hope something happens, some good results, because I can't imagine not knowing where my son is for a whole month, because it's basically a month. It's basically a month later since they've known what happened to their loved one, and I love all of you guys, as you know. I really hope that this live stream does something. Bye.